Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, sometimes the path to, well, world-altering destiny starts in the most disappointing places.
That is so true.
Today we are deep diving into this incredible stack of sources you provided, which reveal a supernatural conflict that is rooted firmly in the North Shore of Massachusetts.
We're talking Salem, we're talking Marblehead.
And the very real possibility that the fate of the world rests on, of all things, a perfectly baked cupcake.
It's the ultimate contrast, isn't it? A battle between, cosmic evil and a woman who just recently was grappling with the profound professional failure of flunking gravy.
At culinary school, it's so relatable.
Exactly. Our focus is Elizabeth Lizzy Tucker, a pastry chef whose life was defined by that specific kind of humbling imperfection until she inherits this beautiful, if crumbling, saltbox house in Marblehead.
And that inheritance, plus her new job at Dazzle's Bakery in Salem, that just sets the stage for everything that follows.
And what follows is just this rapid, world-altering sequence of events that kicks off immediately after her 28th birthday.
So our mission today is to really unpack this sudden injection of the bizarre. We want to identify the rules of this hidden world, the nature of the rivalry, and of course, the critical artifacts they are all desperately hunting down.
And we have to start with a pair of highly unsettling first encounters.
The first one is just chilling.
The initial interaction is the stuff of urban legend, really. Lizzy is at Dazzle's. She's surrounded by the comforting sense of yeast and sugar. And then this man arrives. Wolf. The sources describe him as 6 feet tall, with glossy, almost aggressively black hair, and skin so pale it seems to reflect the light, unearthly pale.
He's dressed immaculately, a perfectly tailored black suit, driving this sleek, low-slung black car. He just does not belong in a bakery.
At all. He certainly doesn't belong in Lizzy's life. He steps out, and the sources make it so clear that his presence is just, well, chilling, despite his undeniable sort of fury handsomeness.
But he doesn't even speak at first. He gets right up to Lizzy on the sidewalk, and he crook hooks his finger.
That silent, commanding, "Come here."
And then he delivers this first terrifying prophecy.
And that command is key, isn't it? It's not a request, it's a declaration of ownership. He tells her, "I'll return for you when I need you. Until then, you'll remember me."
And the remember me part is enforced physically.
Oh, yeah. He touches the back of her hand, and the contact is agonizing. It leaves a blistered, undeniable burn mark. It's like this painful, physical ticket into a world she never knew existed.
A permanent scar. It confirms that she's now on someone's radar.
But the world doesn't give her much time to process the trauma of Wolf. Almost immediately, the dynamic shifts when the second major player just bursts onto the scene. Diesel. And if Wolf is a tailored shadow, Diesel is a force of rugged nature. He's also over 6 feet, described as hard muscle and bad attitude with thick, dark blonde hair and a really distinct beach bum tan.
And here's where the sensory details are so vital for you to understand. Diesel doesn't smell like brimstone or tailored wool.
No, he smells warm and spicy like Christmas.
It's such an immediate, almost primal contrast to Wolf's icy presentation. It signals his potentially less sinister, if, equally chaotic nature.
He's clearly tracking Wolf, and he accosts Lizzy outside the bakery, but his true introduction comes later when he simply peers inside her protected Marblehead home.
He just lets himself in.
Just lets himself in, sprawled casually on her couch. When Lizzy naturally asks how he bypassed her 1740-era locks, his explanation is just so nonchalant.
I can open them.
I can open them, just like that. And this is the first taste of their specific abilities, which we're definitely going to get into. But before Lizzy can even process the illegal entry, Diesel just eliminates any notion that he's a crazy, albeit fragrant, human.
Because she's thinking he's a nutcase.
Right, she's internally categorizing him as a nutcase, and he reads her mind. Instantly.
And the justification he gives, they are cosmically connected.
It's not a polite introduction, is it? It's a permanent annexation of her space in her life, sealed with his declaration, "I'm here to stay."
And he confirms it. The man who vanishes in smoke and fire, that's Wolf. And he reluctantly admits Wolf is his cousin.
But that family tie is irrelevant. They are, as he puts it, playing for different teams in a global conflict.
So, the essential mission of this deep dive, the reason Diesel arrived, is to understand that supernatural conflict and the nature of the artifacts Wolf is hunting. This is a treasure hunt with apocalyptic stakes, and it's centered on a Salem pastry chef.
Exactly. The stakes are defined by, ancient mythology, but the players are driving beat-up cars, smelling like Christmas, and worrying about whether or not they'll blow up a historic house. It's high-stakes action grounded in the bizarrely mundane.
Okay, so let's establish the world Diesel and Wolf belong to. They are part of an ancient, hidden society of humans with special abilities dating back about 1,000 years, and they're known simply as Unmentionables.
The name itself implies a world operating just beneath the surface of normal perception. What's fascinating, and something the sources really stress, is that being an unmentionable doesn't necessarily mean you can fly or summon lightning.
Right, most abilities are, as the sources put it, pretty mundane.
They're high-level skills, not necessarily grand, theatrical displays, though Wolf certainly manages the theatrical. He prefers to disappear in a flourish of smoke and fire.
And the existence of this world, well, it necessitates some kind of structure. The sources heavily imply there's a governing body, likely the BUM.
The Bureau of Unmentionable Marshals, or something similar. It's an oversight body, which suggests that unmentionable abilities are common enough and dangerous enough to require enforcement.
But here's the interesting part, right? If the BUM is this powerful, why does Diesel, who's a marshal, appear to be working completely off the books? He's getting his car supplied by an assistant, and he seems to be operating with zero external institutional support.
That's a huge question. It suggests the DUM is maybe less a robust, centralized government and more a fragile, decentralized brotherhood struggling to contain these truly catastrophic threats like Wolf.
Yeah, that raises a big question about the whole infrastructure of good versus evil in this world. But let's look closer at Diesel's capabilities, because they perfectly illustrate the functional side of the unmentionable skill set. His main commission is to pull the plug on unmentionables who abuse their power.
He is the regulator, the cleaner. His most frequently used skill is his ability to bypass locks. He simply can open them. But beyond that, he possesses superior strength and this incredible, almost animalistic sensory perception that's necessary for tracking opponents like Wolf.
And this is where we have to linger on the most memorable detail in the sources.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
The ass cramp tracker.
Yes.
Diesel can sense Wolf's presence, not just through scent or a change in air pressure, but via a sudden, specific muscular contraction.
That detail is gold, and we can't move past it too quickly. I mean, think about the implications. It instantly grounds this seemingly godlike figure. Wolf is floating around, leaving burning handprints, vanishing in smoke.
Yeah. And Diesel's internal alarm system for him is a physical, crude, and deeply annoying physiological response.
It really suggests that unmentionable power, while incredible, is fundamentally tied to the human body in these really strange ways. Is this physical thing common? Or is Diesel just uniquely afflicted by Wolf's specific power signature because they're cousins?
It feels like the universe's way of giving Diesel constant annoying indigestion every time his nemesis is near.
It definitely prevents him from ever getting too smug about his superior strength.
Okay, so Diesel is the muscle and the tracker. Now let's talk about the key to this entire deep dive. Lizzy's power. She isn't just caught in the crossfire, she has an inherited gift, the pastry phenomenon.
Her ability is beautiful and simple. She can make unmentionably superior cupcakes. They're consistently perfect, they're resistant to failure, and, most importantly, they make people happy.
This talent came from her great-grandmother, Fanny. It's a low-key power, but it's real, and it's traceable, and it's what Wolf needs.
But this introduces the ultimate existential threat to Lizzy, one far greater than Wolf's threats of capture or violence. It's the core rule of unmentionable existence, and it's revealed through Clara Dazzle's story.
The rule is absolute, and it creates this profound tension. If two unmentionables join,
Meaning they sleep together.
one of them instantly loses their ability and becomes a normal.
And we have hard evidence of this through Clara Dazzle, the bakery owner. She used to be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
She made perfect cookies that made people smile, but she also had a significant telekinetic ability. She could bend a spoon just by looking at it when she concentrated.
So she wasn't just a baker, she was a legitimate telekinetic force.
A huge force. But she slept with another unmentionable, and poof, the power vanished. The question we need to ask, and the sources don't entirely clarify, is what dictates who loses the power? Is it random? Is it the weaker one?
That ambiguity is what makes the dynamic between Lizzy and Diesel so dangerous. Diesel, who is clearly stronger and more experienced, seems certain that if they join, Lizzy would be the loser.
Hence his slightly teasing, slightly sinister warning that It would be a shame if you were the loser and you started making lousy cupcakes.
The more time they spend together, the closer they get, and the more vital Lizzie's power becomes to the mission, the higher that tension gets. It's not just a romantic obstacle, it's a global defense strategy dependent on sexual abstinence.
And this tension is heightened when Lizzy fears she has lost her ability after her violent abduction by Hatchet. After she returns, she tries to bake, and the results are catastrophic.
Yellow cake cupcakes that are flat and lumpy, and chocolate ones that are oozing over their wrappers.
This is devastating for her, emotionally and professionally. It makes you wonder, did Wolf manage to unempower her through physical contact or trauma, or was it simply the disruption of extreme stress?
Diesel later notes that Wolf wouldn't unempower her until he had all the Silesius stones, which implies Wolf still needs her tracking ability. But the fear is real, her power is fragile, tied to her mental state, and potentially lost forever by a single moment of intimacy.
Before we jump into the hunt, we have to mention the wild card. Glow Binkley, Lizzy's countergirl. She perfectly embodies the weird energy of Salem. She's a questionable, not a unmentionable.
But she has this fierce belief in her own destiny.
And her evidence. A scar on her forehead that looks like a lightning bolt, which she got from running into a coffee table when she was 6.
She is obsessed with destiny and magic, which leads her to consult obscure books of spells, often resulting in chaos, like the spell that made Shirley Moore speak pure gibberish.
Glow represents that intersection of the supernatural and the truly delusional. She's trying to operate in this hidden world with zero knowledge and a lot of misplaced enthusiasm. When we get to the Chaos Monkey later, we'll see how her attempts to help become a running gag that complicates Diesel's already impossible mission.
Okay, let's pivot from the rules of engagement to the objective. What is wolf hunting, and why is Diesel so obsessed with stopping him? It all comes down to an ancient legend involving the Silesius stones.
This is the core conflict, the MacGuffin that justifies the global chase and the local explosions. Silegia is derived from the Latin initials for the 7 deadly sins: superbia, pride; avaritia, greed; luxuria, lust; invidia, envy; gula, gluttony; ira, wrath; and acedia, sloth.
7 stones, each embodying the power of a single deadly sin.
And the risk isn't just localized chaos, it's apocalyptic. If these 7 stones are combined into a single vessel, the sources are very clear on this, the resulting power would create hell on earth.
So for 1,000 years, an arcane sect guarded these stones. But like any good ancient organization, they suffered from dissension among the elders.
Which led to the stones being distributed to the far corners of the earth. Now Wolf, sensing their reemergence, is hunting them, starting in Salem, believing they've all found their way back. Diesel's job is simply to reclaim or neutralize them before Wolf completes the collection.
The immediate focus for the characters and for our deep dive is the gluttony stone, Gula. And the backstory of how it was protected is, well, it's brilliant.
It really is. The previous guardian, Uncle Phil Moore, knew he couldn't keep the whole stone safe, so he fragmented its power. He broke the gluttony stone into 4 smaller, powerful pieces he called humbug charms.
But Phil wasn't just a splitter. He was a brilliant psychological protector. To ensure the recipients never spoke of their inheritance, thus protecting the charms, he threatened them with a curse of eternal bad luck if they ever mentioned the items.
And fear of bad luck is a powerful, persistent deterrent.
It is. So let's catalog these 4 charms, because each one is tied to a specific manifestation of gluttony in the modern world. It gives us that important, deeper insight we were looking for. The idea that sin evolves is fascinating here.
Starting with Charm 1, the ladybug. This charm was inherited by Shirley Moore, and she represents pure physical gluttony for food.
Her apartment was a shrine to consumerism and consumption. Industrial quantities of peanut butter, cases of Twinkies, and, most damningly for Lizzy, neatly stacked boxes from Dazzle's bakery.
Filled with the 60 cupcakes she was eating daily.
60 a day. Her state was completely uncontrollable. She even had 7 Snickers bars in her purse at all times. When Lizzy first holds the key ring with the charm, it radiates heat, confirming its empowerment.
And here's the crucial proof of concept. The moment Diesel successfully removes the ladybug charm from her possession, Shirley's gluttony stops. Instantly. She calmly rebuttons her blouse, she cancels the cupcake order, and seems shocked by the amount of junk food surrounding her.
This confirms these charms aren't just attracting existing sin, they are magically inducing the sin in the holder.
Exactly. Next, we have a much darker, much more explosive manifestation. Charm 2, the cockroach. This went to Lenny Moore, whose gluttony was for punishment.
His obsession was reckless, self-destructive behavior, a bad boy persona involving spiked dog collars, handcuffs, heavy drinking, and pursuing a cyber slut lifestyle.
Lenny was clearly paranoid, afraid his ex-wife would steal his inheritance. His hiding place for the cockroach charm shows a deeply deranged mind.
It was hidden inside a rubber chicken.
A rubber chicken, of all things, tucked away in his oven. But he went further. He set a devastating booby trap designed to protect the charm at all costs.
And the sources describe a catastrophic scene. The booby trap, likely rigged to ignite the gas line, caused a massive explosion that just leveled his historic house.
We're talking about a structure reduced to rubble, with only the brick skeleton of the fireplace still standing. It was a level of destruction that far, far outweighed the value of the charm itself.
And yet the charm survived. Diesel and Lizzy had to sift through the smoldering debris and wreckage, eventually locating the tiny, glowing cockroach charm in the rubble.
It demonstrates the almost indestructible nature of these artifacts. You can blow up the house around them, but the power remains.
Moving to Charm 3, the dragonfly. This one belongs to Mark Moore, whose sin was the gluttony for collecting.
Mark's apartment was the ultimate expression of acquisition compulsion. Mountains of padlocks, ferrets, garden gnomes, and a truly bizarre collection of olive oil, labeled both virgin and slut.
And this is where Wolf scores his first major victory. He tracks Mark down at his commercial real estate office. Instead of a messy explosion or confrontation, Wolf uses cold, clinical interrogation.
He secures the dragonfly charm, but not without leaving his chilling signature. Mark is released, rattled to the point where he barely had a coherent thought, bearing 5-finger burn marks on his neck from Wolf's touch. It reminds us that Wolf is always one step ahead and willing to use violence efficiently.
Finally, Charm 4, the honeybee. Diesel, using some impressive detective work based on a family photo, correctly guesses the final holder is Melody Moore, the serial mom.
And her gluttony manifested as an overwhelming gluttony for family and chaos. She was surrounded by children and lived in total chocolate-smudged disarray.
The charm was worn quite openly as a necklace. Diesel and Lizzy arrive just in time to stop Stephen Hatchett, Wolf's minion, from extracting it violently. When Lizzy touches this final charm, it glows intensely. Gold, orange, then bright red, signaling the completion of the quartet.
And here's where the personal risk just escalates for Lizzy. She's not the charm holder, but simply touching or carrying these powerful artifacts triggers a deep, immediate side effect.
The sources detail her descent into overwhelming gluttony that starts with food and then rapidly morphs into pure, primal desire.
The initial reaction is purely consumption. She's found eating half a tub of raw cake batter and later caught literally pawing through the garbage looking for muffin bottoms her cat had discarded. She even tries to steal a full pound of butter from her own pantry. It's involuntary and highly embarrassing.
But the gluttony quickly twists. It accelerates into this kind of hypersexuality, a desperate craving for sensation and chaos, echoing Lenny's punishment gluttony.
She starts making suggestive comments, asking Diesel if he has handcuffs, and declaring, Lizzy's been a bad girl and needs a good spanking. This is the charm's power warping her core desires. It foreshadows the terrifying potential of the complete stone.
This transformation is so crucial for you to grasp. The sin of gluttony isn't just about overeating. It's about the overwhelming, uncontrollable desire to acquire and consume anything. And in Lizzy, that consumption became deeply tied to physical and emotional cravings, raising immediate red flags about the danger she is in if Wolf pursues the next stone on the Saliga list.
Okay, we've established the stakes and the targets. Now let's talk about the conflict and the villains who are constantly threatening Lizzy and complicating Diesel's life, starting with Wolf's chief operative, Stephen Hatchett.
Hatchett is the perfect blend of terrifying competence and delusional absurdity.
He is a medieval nut who genuinely believes he is a knight sworn to Wolf, his self-appointed liege lord. He embodies the role completely, wearing green tights, tunics, chain-link armor, and wielding a genuine heavy-duty saber.
But despite the ridiculous wardrobe, Hatchett is highly dangerous. He's a former military paramedic, which gives him specialized knowledge in paralytic toxins and Inquisition torture techniques.
And he's also one of the only 2 people alive who can identify the charms, making him invaluable to Wolf. His brain is described as quite brilliant, even if it's obsessively mired in the Middle Ages.
He demonstrates his danger early on during the violent home invasion at Lizzy's Marblehead house. He bypasses the door security by simply kicking in the back door.
Lizzy is there mixing pound cake batter, and he immediately pulls the saber. This is not a playful threat. He promises to cut you up into tiny pieces and says he might bring Wolf her guts.
The confrontation is brutal. Lizzy sustains a severe cut requiring 7 stitches in her arm. She is saved, not by Diesel, but by an unlikely one-eyed hero.
Cat 7143.
The ninja cat.
Ah, yes. Cat 7143 leaps onto the butcher block, attacks Hatchet with such ferocity that the delusional knight, terrified, flees. This validates the source's assertion that this one-eyed, half-tailed feline, possibly Great Aunt Ophelia's original pet, making him ancient, is indeed rumored to be a ninja and a mind reader.
He's a genuinely empowered agent of chaos on the side of good, who also happens to prefer Lizzy's perfect pink-wrapped muffins.
But Hatchet, despite his momentary defeat by a cat, eventually succeeds. He tracks Lizzy down again, uses his paramedic knowledge to subdue her, a stun gun followed by mild anesthesia, and successfully delivers her to Wolf.
And Wolf's base of operations is as sleek as he is, a new high-rise Boston penthouse. His interrogation of Lizzy is calculated and cold. He confirms his strategy, telling her clearly that 4 charms are needed to find the stone.
He shares this knowledge not out of kindness, but because he needs her unique, unmentionable ability to track empowered objects to quickly locate the remaining charm holder before Diesel can.
And he confirms the sword of Damocles hanging over her head. He tells her his long-term intention is to unempower her once he has the stone. He will reduce her to a normal, removing her ability to track empowered objects.
He needs her now, but she is utterly expendable later. It's a chilling insight into Wolf's ruthless efficiency.
This high-stakes conflict, however, is constantly undermined by the absolute chaos of the Spook Patrol.
Well, Mel Mencher.
Led by Mel Mencher. They are the comic relief, but they also highlight how close Wolf and Diesel's activities are to public detection.
Mencher, Ritchie, and Gorp, armed with their ghostometers, obsessively track Wolf and Diesel, recording demonic possession and ecto-slime. They register the metaphysical phenomenon, but they interpret it through the lens of local ghost hunting.
And Diesel, tired of their surveillance and constant photographic documentation, engineers a spectacular piece of street theater.
He deliberately gives Mencher Wolf's new Boston address, knowing Wolf's explosive personality.
And Wolf does not disappoint. The sources detail a terrifying sequence. Wolf confronts Mencher and Gorp, leaves Mencher with a burn mark, and then, using a clear circle of fire as a magical trigger, makes the Spook Patrol van explode.
In a massive fireball.
That's a crucial detail. That fire circle confirms Wolf's use of powerful, explicit elemental magic. He is not subtle when annoyed. He annihilated their vehicle just to send a message.
It's a reminder that while Diesel tracks via ass cramp, Wolf brings genuine, destructive, potentially lethal magical power.
Speaking of chaos, we have to return to Lizzy's acquisitions, which provide a constant low-level drain on Diesel's patience. We already discussed the brilliant one-eyed cat 7143.
The true ninja of Marblehead.
And then there's the legendary Carl the monkey.
Carl. Glow acquired him from Monkey Rescue, apparently as a consequence of signing up to help a cute guy she met at a party. Carl is pure, unadulterated trouble and olfactory assault.
The sources describe him smelling like a sick water buffalo when wet, a fantastic and specific detail.
He gets carsick in Diesel's expensive Cayenne, projectile vomits burgers and fries, and is constantly giving people the finger. Diesel, recognizing him from a previous life in Trenton, knows exactly the level of systemic chaos this monkey generates.
His history is extensive. He was responsible for the ferret breakout at Mark Moore's apartment during the charm collection.
And Diesel, acknowledging that this monkey is a greater threat to the mission than Wolf, reluctantly agrees to take Carl off everyone's hands, but only on the condition that Lizzy agrees to limit her bakery shifts to mornings.
It's a hilarious trade-off. Mitigating a world-ending threat hinges on managing a vomiting monkey's schedule.
Okay, so with the 4 charms finally collected, the heroes and the villain converge at the grave of Uncle Phil Moore in Oyster Hill Cemetery. The setting itself is loaded with historical context.
It is. Phil Moore's gravestone provides the final piece of the puzzle and the philosophical grounding for the entire quest. The inscription reads, Cave, cave, deus videt, beware, beware, God sees.
This confirms his role as a guardian and directly links the stone to the works of Hieronymus Bosch, specifically his painting The 7 Deadly Sins and the 4 Last Things. This is not just a fantasy quest, it's rooted in medieval moral theology.
And the reveal at the grave is surprising. Wolf had already robbed it, finding an empty casket. Phil was not there, having died and been buried quickly.
But the secret wasn't Phil, it was the casket itself. The sources describe an ornate, dark wood casket carved with vines, flowers, bugs, and, centrally, a big eye on the top of it.
The 4 humbug charms, ladybug, cockroach, dragonfly, and honeybee, are the keys. They are designed to slot into the bug carvings.
Wolf had discovered that his dragonfly charm fit a carving, but the casket remained sealed. It was only when Diesel and Lizzy, in a moment of intense high-stakes cooperation with Wolf, brought all 4 together that the truth was revealed.
As they place the charms into the carvings, they hum, they glow, and they seal the casket.
And it magically springs open. Inside, they find 2 critical artifacts. First, the gluttony stone itself, surprisingly plain, described merely as a duck egg-sized rock.
And second, and perhaps more dangerous, a tablet containing ancient arcane inscriptions.
That tablet is the true prize for Wolf. It's the mechanism used to connect guardians and locate the next stone in the Soligia series. But before Wolf can grab it, the gluttony stone claims its most immediate victim.
Wolf, ever the pragmatist, allows Hatchet to grab the stone first.
And Hatchet is instantly overwhelmed by the stone's massive concentration of sin. The power doesn't just induce gluttony, it elevates him to total manic delusion, confusing compulsive acquisition with godhood.
He immediately declares himself the god of gluttony everything, turning on his liege lord Wolf, and seizing the tablet, believing he is now the master of the entire operation.
This is a moment of swift, brutal clarity from Wolf. Annoyed by this spectacular insubordination, Wolf just executes Hatchet with a flash of light.
It's a lethal display of power, yet Hatchet isn't permanently dead. The sources later describe him as merely moderately crazy and still flopping around.
Right, which confirms Wolf's objective was just neutralization and retrieval of the tablet, which he successfully accomplishes before vanishing.
With Wolf gone, Diesel secures the gluttony stone. But before he can contain it, he places it in Lizzy's hands. This is the ultimate test of her vulnerability, and the stone's true power is revealed to her.
The effect is instantaneous and visceral. Her eyes dilate, she drools slightly, and the sheer power of the accumulated gluttony buzzes through her. It's no longer just a craving for food. It's the primal gluttony of desire.
Her internal monologue during this moment is absolutely terrifying because of its scope. She wants everything. It escalates far beyond consumption. Babies and cupcakes and kisses and peace everlasting. I wanted perfect breaths and pretty shoes and Thanksgiving dinner, and I wanted it all bad.
This is the sin of gluttony applied to life itself, the total, uncontainable desire for fulfillment, physical perfection, and existential peace.
And despite this overwhelming, near-incapacitating reaction, Diesel is actually relieved.
He is. He notes that Wolf must not have touched her in a way that would unempower her, confirming her fear about losing her cupcake ability was, for the moment, unfounded.
Her power remains intact, but she is now terrifyingly aware of how susceptible she is to the overwhelming influence of the Soligia stones.
So let's take stock of where this deep dive leaves us. The gluttony stone is secured by Diesel, confirming that the forces fighting Wolf have managed to keep one apocalypse at bay.
However, Wolf successfully acquired the tablet,
which holds the arcane map to locating the remaining 6 stones. Wolf now possesses the institutional knowledge needed to accelerate his search.
And Lizzy retains her unmentionable ability, which means she is still a key asset in tracking these artifacts, but her vulnerability to the stone's influence is completely confirmed.
It escalated from simple food gluttony to hypersexuality, and finally to a primal, total gluttony of desire involving motherhood, physical perfection, and every possible emotional state.
And Diesel, who is still essentially working for free, relying on his assistant Gwen, who not only supplied the Cayenne but bought Lizzy a new water heater because the old one rusted out, he continues his global thankless mission.
Gwen is a vital piece of context, remembering what Diesel looked like after chasing down a yak herder who'd gone to the dark side in Tibet. This tells you that the BUM's fight isn't just in Salem. It's a global, messy, underfunded operation.
But the threat is now crystallized. The gluttony stone caused a gluttony of desire. Wolf now has the tablet, and he will undoubtedly pursue the next stone quickly.
So if we look back at the Soligia list, the next stone Wolf is likely to target is luxuria, lust.
And this is the definitive, impossible question left hanging for you, the listener. We know the gluttony stone induced desires that spilled into hypersexuality. What are the catastrophic implications of the actual lust stone entering the narrative?
Given the intense, already barely contained attraction between Diesel and Lizzy, and the known rule that 2 unmentionables joining leads to the inevitable loss of one of their powers, which would cripple their ability to track the remaining stones, The hunt for luxuria threatens to force an immediate, unavoidable choice.
Will the lust stone break their control completely, or will the threat of losing their power forever finally push them apart? Lizzy's destiny now lies squarely at the intersection of world-saving duty and catastrophic physical desire.